Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Wish Infinite. In this video of Playwright with TypeScript series, I will talk about how to push code to GitHub. Here, we would be looking into step-by-step tutorial that how to install Git, how to create your own repository after logging in into GitHub account, and then how to push your code to newly created GitHub repository through different ways. And before proceeding further, I would like to inform that I have created YouTube Shorts playlist for Playwright. You can watch this playlist to refresh your Playwright concepts. I will provide link of this playlist into description, or you can go to my channel Wish Infinite, where under the playlist tab you would be able to access this Learn Playwright in 60 Seconds Shorts playlist. And you can click onto this community tab where you would be able to see this Playwright quiz. You can answer these questions which will help you to prepare for interview also. Now let's continue with our current topic. So what is GitHub? GitHub is a web-based platform that provides hosting for Git repositories. Git provides a robust framework for managing code changes, facilitating collaboration, and managing a reliable history of your project's development. Here are some of the benefits of using Git repository. So it provides version control. Git keeps track of every change made to the code base, allowing you to view historical changes and revert to the previous versions. Second benefit is collaboration. Git allows multiple developers to work on the same project simultaneously. Third one is branching and merging. Git enables branching, which allows you to work on new features or fixes in the isolated environments. Once the work is completed, these branches can be merged back into the main code base. Fourth one is backup and recovery. Storing code in Git provides a backup of your work. If a local machine fails or data is lost, you can recover your code from the remote Git repository. Fifth one is code review. So Git supports code review workflows where changes can be reviewed and approved before being integrated into the main project. This process improves code quality and ensures standards are met. Next benefit is audit trail. Git maintains a detailed history of changes, including who made each change and why. And the seventh benefit is distributed development. Git is a distributed version control system, meaning every developer has a full copy of the code repository. This decentralization enhances redundancy and ensures that development can continue even if the central repository is unavailable. Now let's see how to install Git. So for that, you can search for Git download onto the Google, and then under the download section, you would be able to see different operating system links to download it for the specific OS. As I'm using Windows, so I will click onto this Windows link. Accordingly, you can click onto any of the operating system. And then we need to download this standalone installer for the 64-bit Windows. So here I'm clicking onto this link. And once you click onto the link, the download of the software will get started. You can go to this download folder where you would be able to see this application. And then you can double click onto this application. And then to install the Git, you need to simply click onto the next. No need to change any of the default options selected. And at the end, you would be able to see this installing message. Now once the installation is done, you would be able to see this finish button. You can click onto it. And just to reconfirm that installation got successfully done, you can open this command prompt. And here you can enter the command which is git-v. You would be able to see the installed version which is 2.46.0 for me. For you, it can be different as per the latest version. Closing the CMD. Now, as the Git is installed onto the system, the second step which we need to do is to go to the github.com. And if you are not having any of the GitHub account, you can click onto the sign up. You can provide your email ID and all the required details with password creation. And once sign up is done, you would be having your username and the password. Then you can click onto the sign in, and here you can provide username and the created password. And after providing username and password, you need to click onto this sign in button. And here you would be able to see the landing home page where at the left hand side, it will show the created repository. From here, we can also create the new repository. Here onto the top also, we have this plus icon and this arrow. You can click onto it, and here you would be able to see the same new repository creation option. And now, as we want to create the new repository, we need to click onto this new repository. From here also you can click. And now it will ask for the repository name. You can give any preferred name. For now, I am giving the name as practice git 1. You can provide description also if you want. This is optional. From here, we need to select that we want to create this repository public or private. For now, I am clicking onto this public. Here we have option to add the readme file also. If you will click here, so it will create a readme file, just kind of instruction which we want to give for our repository. For now, I am not checking it. And after that, you can click onto this create repository. And here you would be able to see this practice git 1 name which we have given while creating the repository. Here all the instructions are given. If you select that readme file option, so you would be able to see this readme file here. Now, as we have created this empty repository onto GitHub, so we can proceed further with the next step to push the code onto this created repository. When interacting with GitHub, you can use either HTTPS or SSH to clone repositories, push changes, and perform other Git operations. This HTTPS stands for Hypertext Protocol Secure, and SSH stands for Secure Shell Protocol. The HTTPS way is easier to set up. It requires only your GitHub username and password, but is less secure than SSH. On the other hand, this SSH is more secure, uses public-private key pairs for authentication, which are more secure than passwords. Now, let's first start with HTTPS to interact with GitHub repositories. And for that, we need to provide some set of commands. And here into the repositories also, you can click onto the HTTPS to get this particular link. Once files are added, you would be able to see this code button where you will find this link. I will show you once we add the file. So for now, as there are no files, so we are able to see this landing page. But once files would be there, you would not be able to see all these details, that what are all the commands which we need to give. I've already added all these commands into the document also. And this document you can access from the link which I will provide in the description. So first command which we need to provide is git init. This initializes a Git repository in the current directory. It creates a hidden .git directory where all the Git configurations and repository data will be stored. And to provide this command, you can open VS Code, and here you can open this terminal. If it is not open, you can go to this terminal and new terminal. It will open this window. Or if you want to use CMD to fire these commands, so you can right click and reveal it in File Explorer. And onto this folder, here you can type CMD. So it will directly open the CMD with the current directory. Here also you can provide all those commands, but usually I prefer to do it within the VS Code only. So I will close the CMD. It's up to you which one you want to use. So before providing this git init command, one more thing which we want to do is to create one file with the name .gitignore. And to create the file, you can right click here and click onto the new file. And here you can provide the file name just as dot and gitignore. Here I have already created that file. And inside this file, we need to provide all the directories or file name which we don't want to push onto the Git repository. Here I have provided this node modules directory because inside it all the packages will be having with all of their files. We don't want to push it to the Git repository. And here I have provided all the results and report directories because that also we don't want to push. User would be able to execute their test cases. These files will get generated. We want to push the files which are having the code. So apart from these directories, all the directories and the file inside it will get pushed to the Git repository. Now, once your .gitignore file is ready, you can proceed further. And now one more thing I would like to add here. Inside the VS Code, you can see this source control option. You can click here. And for now, we have not created any local repository, so we are not able to see the files here. But once I provide this git init command, you would be able to see the files inside this section. Now let me provide this git init command, as we have already created our .gitignore file. So here I am providing git init, all small caps, and once you hit enter, it will initialize an empty git repository in the current directory. Okay, and then this .git folder will get also created. And see here inside this source control section, we are able to see all the files which are there inside our current project directory, apart from the directories and their inner files which are there inside the .gitignore file. And let me open this directory. There you would be able to see this .gitinit folder got created. Okay, this is the hidden folder. So inside your folder settings, if you have not enabled to show the hidden files, you would not be able to see this .git folder. From here, you can go to the options, and here inside this view, you would be able to see this show hidden files, folders and drives. So I've checked this, so that's why I'm able to see this .git folder. So it is not necessary to make this folder visible. Just to show you this folder, I have enabled to show the hidden files and folders. Now, once we are done with git init command, we need to provide the next command, which is git add dot. This stages all the changes, new files, modified files, deleted files in the current directory and its subdirectories for the next commit. The dot is a shorthand for the current directory. So on place of this dot, you can also provide the file name which you want to push to the Git repository. If you provide this dot, it will push all the files which are there inside the current project directory, apart from the files and folders which we have provided in the .gitignore. Okay, if you provide this git add file name, this stages the specified file name for the next commit. Here we need to replace this angular bracket file name with the actual name of the file you want to add. And here I've provided, if you want to add all the files, you can use this git add dot. So now let's provide this git add dot, as we want to add all the files. So here let's give this git add dot. And once I will hit enter, you will see that all these files which are appearing under this changes section will get moved to the staged section. Okay, let me hit enter and you would be able to see that change. And on place of this U, which is for untracked, it will change to A. See, now all the files are appearing inside this staged changes section, and that U got changed to A, which is for added. And inside the changes, now there are no files. And now once you are done with this git add dot command, you need to provide the next command, which is git commit command. So the command would be git commit -m, and then within the quotes, you need to provide any command. So this command should be meaningful, which should specify that what is the exact code which you are pushing. This command creates a new commit with the staged files. The -m option allows you to specify a commit message in line. So let's provide this command. So here, let me clear this terminal. I've cleared the command just to make the command properly visible. And here we can provide the command, which is git commit -m. And here you can provide any message within the quotes. For now, I will provide git first commit. And this commit command, which I am providing, is similar to providing the message here inside this input box and then clicking onto this commit button, which will commit all these staged files. So if you want to use the UI, you can directly provide the command and click onto the commit button. Okay, for now I'm using the command. So the command is git commit -m and then the command inside the quotes. And now hit enter. And we are able to see this message, which is author identity unknown. So this message you would be able to see only first time when you are using Git and committing the code. But once you provide your identity details, this message would not be coming. Here into the document also I have mentioned the same thing. So for the first time Git user, you can see the message author identity unknown on committing the code for the first time. You can set your identity, email and name by providing below commands. So we can provide these two commands to provide our identity, which is email and the name. And the command is git config --global, then user.email, and then within the quotes, we need to provide our email ID. And similarly, to provide the name, you need to give git config --global, user.name, and then within the quotes, your username. Here into the VS Code also, you would be able to see these two commands that it is telling us to run. And you can omit this -- global to set the identity only in this repository, but we want to set it for all the repositories, so we would be using this -- global. Usually I use this GitHub desktop software, and there is option to provide this email and the name. So I do not use these commands to set the email and name. Let me show that software to you just for your reference. Not necessary to use this software. It is provided by the GitHub and very good software which you can use to interact with the Git. So this is GitHub desktop, and here you can go to the file options, and here inside this Git there is option to provide name and email, and once you save these values it will not give this message as author identity unknown. So if you want to use this software, you can use it. For now, let me provide the commands here into the terminal. So the command is git config -- global, and then to set the email we need to provide user.email, and then within the quotes you can provide your email ID. For now I have created my account using the specific email ID, so I will provide that email ID. And after entering your specified email ID, you can hit enter. Let me open this GitHub desktop, and here if I open this section again, I should be able to see the email ID added here. See, although we have added it through the command, but it got added here into this software also. Similarly, you can provide the name with the help of the command, or if you want to directly add here, that is also okay. Now let me provide the command to set the name. So git config -- global, and then user dot name, and within the quotes you can provide the name. So here I'm giving the name as wish infinite. Any name you can give which you want to provide, and now hit enter, and the same thing you would be able to see inside this name field also. Let me reopen it again. See, the name is automatically appearing here as we have provided it through the command. So this is only one-time activity. Every time you will not have to provide these two commands. You have set it onto the global level, so it would be applicable for all the repository. And there may be the case if you are already a Git user, you would not be able to see this message, and you will not have to set the email and the name. So now let me again provide this git commit -m and the specific message, because previously we have got this author identity unknown. So that's why we have not committed the code till now. So again, providing this git commit command, git commit -m, and then the commit message at git first commit, and hit enter. And once you hit enter, see, all the files are gone from here. We are also not able to see that commit button, because on that place we are able to see this publish branch button. Let me close this GitHub desktop software. Okay, for now we would be using the terminal. If you want to explore this GitHub desktop application, you can search for the same onto the Google and then download it. It is very good software. So once you commit your code, one more one-time activity we need to do by providing the command. So the command is git branch -m main, and this command renames the current branch to the main. The -m flag forces the rename if a branch with the new name already exists. Let me move this note with the commit command, okay? Because after the commit command, you would be seeing this author identity unknown. So here, let's provide this git branch -m main command to rename the current branch name. So to see the current branch name, let's fire this command git branch. Okay, with this you would be able to see what is the current branch name. Okay, hit enter. Here again hit enter. So this is our current branch name, which is master, but we want to rename it to main, because by default the Git repository uses the branch name as main. I will show you onto your GitHub account also that the by default the branch name would be the main. So to change this master to main, we need to give the command which is git branch -M and then the branch name which is main. You can set the name to any of the name, but it is recommended to use the main. Okay, and if you use any name, so onto the GitHub portal also you will have to provide the same name. Okay, for now I am changing it to main. So once you provide this command, hit enter. And now again, if you will check your branch name by providing this git branch, so you would be able to see the updated name, which is main. It is not necessary to provide this git branch. Just to show you the current branch name, I'm providing this command, which is git branch. Now, once you rename your current branch name to main, we need to provide the next command, which is git remote add origin, and then the HTTPS URL of your repository. And this command adds a new repository named origin. So here we are providing the new repository name as origin. The URL provided is the location of the remote repository on GitHub. This allows you to push and pull changes to and from the remote repository. So here, on place of this URL, you will have to provide your repository's HTTPS URL. Okay, and that you would be able to see onto the GitHub, either from this section, or you would be able to see that code button, and there you can click and look for this HTTPS URL. Once that button is available on adding the file, I will show you that button also. Okay, for now, let's copy it from here and let's provide the command, which is git remote add origin, and then the HTTPS URL of the remote repository. So this is our URL. So here we are telling to add this remote repository with the name origin. On place of origin, you can provide any name. It can be XYZ, ABC, or test origin. But the same name you will have to use for the next command, which is this git push command. So here, as I have provided origin here, but if you provide any name, you will have to provide the same name here with the push command. It is recommended to use the origin only, but if you want to try any other name, that you can try. For now, we will stick with the origin name only. So here, after providing the command, hit enter. And once you provide this command and adds your remote repository with the name as origin, you can move to the next command, which is git push -u origin, which we have provided here, and then the main, because we have renamed our branch name to the main. And this command pushes the commits from your local main branch to the main branch in the remote repository. The -u flag sets the origin main as the default upstream branch, so future git push commands can be run without specifying the remote and the branch. So now let's provide this command, which is git push -u origin main. So git push -u origin main. And once you hit the command, you should be able to see all the code there onto the Git repository. But once I hit enter, it will first ask for the authentication. Let me hit enter. See, we have got this pop-up connect to GitHub, and here it is providing different ways to authenticate. So for the HTTPS, we usually use this sign in with your browser, where we provide the username and password to authenticate the Git repository. For this push, so let's use this sign in with your browser option first. We would also be looking for other option where this sign in with a code and token option is also there. But usually I prefer to use this sign in with your browser. Any one of the option you can use. It's up to you. So click here onto this button. And once you click here, it will open this GitHub page for the authentication, where you will have to provide username and password if you are not already logged in. And here you can click onto the sign in after providing your username and password. And once you do this successful sign in and come back to the VS Code and here into the terminal, you will see that your push got successfully done. And if you will go to your repository now, you should be able to see all the directories and the files there onto the repository. Just refresh the page here, and here we are able to see all the folders and their inside files. And now see, we have got this code button. Here you can click and you would be able to see this HTTPS and SSS option to get the specific links, right? So from here also you can take the specific link related to the HTTPS and the SSH. And once your push is done, you would be able to see that who committed the code. Okay, this is the commit message which we have given, git first commit. Okay, whatever the message you will give, you would be able to see it here. And around 14 minutes ago, we have committed the code, so that details we are able to see for each directory and the file. We are able to see this branch name as main, which is the default branch. If you will come to this settings section, here you will see this default branch section is there under the general, and here the default branch name is main. And if you want to use any other branch name, you will have to change it here inside the settings, as well as while renaming the branch name here, you will have to provide the same name. But rather than making the things complex, it's better to use this default branch name, which is main. But just for your knowledge purpose, I wanted to show this part to you if you want to use any other branch name. The process is done to push the code with the help of this GitHub HTTPS. And here we have done the authentication using the username and password. Once we got that sign in pop-up, right? We clicked onto the first button to sign in with the browser. But there were other options were also there. And let me show those options to you also. So as we have done authentication one time, every time if I do this git push, it will not ask for the authentication because it has saved that authentication within the credential manager. For now, let me delete those credentials so that it will again ask for the authentication. You can simply use this first way where we have provided the username and password into the browser. But for your knowledge purpose, if you want to try, then you can try these other ways also. It should be known if in the interview someone asks. So first, to remove the credentials, let me search for this credential manager. You can search for the same. And here we need to click onto this Windows credential and see our credentials got saved here inside this generic credential section where you would be able to see this github.com URL. And here we have option to remove these saved credentials. Let me click onto the remove. And here I'm deleting it so that we would be able to see this authentication pop up again because we want to try the second way. So to try the second way, let me create one new repository. And to create the new repository, you can go here onto the create new, click onto the new repository, and let's give the name as practice git 2. Any meaningful name you can give, just for the practice purpose, I'm giving the name like this. And here you can provide the description. For now, I'm keeping the repository as public. So anyone on the internet can see this repository. If you want to add this README file, you can add, but for now, I'm not adding it. Later also, we can create this README file. So it's better to create there. And then click onto the create repository. So our repository is created. We are able to see this URL also. For now, we are going to use this HTTPS way only, where we would be able to see that sign in pop up. And there we would be trying different way to authenticate. So let's provide these commands one by one, which we are having inside the document also. And now, as we have deleted the credentials from that credentials manager, so now again, let's push our code onto the newly created repository, which is practice git 2. So this time I would be pushing the new project. This we have already pushed. Let me open these sample projects which I have created. Playwright Git Practice 2 is the project name, which I am going to push onto this new repository. These are just sample projects where I have not created any file. These are by default files which we get once we install the Playwright using the Playwright extension. About this installation, I've already discussed into one of my previous video. I will provide link of Playwright installation video into the description, or you can click onto this I button at top right corner to access that video. Now let's continue. So here, as we want to push this code, so we will have to provide all these commands, right? Where we need to do this git init, git add dot, okay, commit, and then we would be changing the branch name, and then we would be setting this remote repository named to the origin, and then we would be pushing the code. So let's provide all these commands. I have already explained these commands in details just now, so I would be directly using those commands. So git init, okay, it will create this .git folder inside your current repository. Then we need to provide this git add dot, hit enter. Here under the Explorer section, you would be able to see these file color and this A and U is getting changed. Okay. And then we need to provide this git commit -m. Okay. You can create your .git ignore file accordingly. Okay. This is by default file which we are getting. Okay. So git commit -m, and then within the quotes, git push practice. Okay. Any meaningful name you can give. Okay, for now I have given this name, hit enter, and then we can change the branch name. So for that, we need to give the command git branch -M, and then main, as we want to change the current branch name to the main. So currently it is master, now it will get changed to main. And after that, we need to provide this git remote add origin and then the HTTPS URL. So git remote add origin. Okay, this is the command which you are providing, and then HTTPS URL. So you can take this URL from the Git repository. This is our newly created repository. Here, provide that URL. You can paste it just by right clicking into the terminal. And after giving this command, we need to provide git push -u origin and main and hit enter. And once you hit enter, you should be able to see that authentication pop up. Okay. Why? Because we have deleted our credentials from the credential manager. So see, we have got this pop up again. Okay. Just for the practice purpose, we have deleted those credentials so that again we are able to see this pop up. Okay. You need not to delete it. You can just use this first way, which we have discussed. But for your knowledge purpose, if you want to practice, you can delete those credentials and then you can push your new code to your new repository. For now, we are going to try this option, which is sign in with a code. So click onto this and it will show you this kind of device code, which you can provide after going onto this link. Okay. So click here onto this link. So this link will get opened. If you are not already logged in, it will ask for the username and password. Okay. And then you can click onto the sign in. If you are already logged in onto the browser, you would not be seeing this section to enter the username and password as you are already logged in. Okay. And now once you are logged in, it will ask us to add this passkey. So click onto this add passkey button and you can continue here. And here inside this device activation section, you can provide that code which was appearing here onto this pop-up. Okay. Which is F11C DB26. For you, there would be the different code which will be getting generated. So here F11C DB26. Okay. Enter the correct code and click onto the continue. It will again show you this authorize Git credential manager. Click onto it, authorize, and then you would be able to see this success message. And once you will come to your terminal, you would be able to see your code got pushed and you are not able to see any error. And if you will go to your repository and refresh here, you should be able to see the pushed code here onto the branch. So this is the main branch we are able to see. And from here also, you can check the URL related to the HTTPS and the SSH. So now this is the second way for this HTTPS only. So in the first way, we have logged in by giving username and password into the browser. Into the second way for the HTTPS, we have authenticated through the code which got generated. And now we would be seeing the third way where we would be authenticating with the help of token. So let me again delete those credentials. Okay. Going on to the credential manager, Windows credential, and removing these saved credentials again. Now to see the third way, let me create one more repository. So click onto this create new repository. Here I'm giving the name as practice git 3 and then clicking onto the create repository and it will create your new repository. Let's push the code onto this new repository where we would be using this HTTPS only, but with a different way to authenticate. So let me open one new project folder. So open folder. Here I've created this dummy folder, which is Playwright Git Practice 3. Open this folder. Okay, just for the practice purpose, I am showing all these ways. And here let's provide those commands again. Git init, git add space dot, and then git commit -m and git practice. And then let's change the branch name from master to main. So git branch -M and then the branch name, which is main. And after that, we need to provide git remote add origin and then the HTTPS URL. So you can copy it from here and paste it here by right clicking here and hit enter. And after that, we need to provide git push -u origin main. And now once you hit enter, again you would be able to see that sign in pop up. We are able to see this sign in pop up because again we have deleted those credentials by using the credentials manager. And now as we have already seen these two ways, where first we have seen this sign in with your browser option and second one was sign in with a code, which generated the code and then we provided that code. And now there is third way, which is this token. So here we need to pass a personal access token, which we would be getting from the GitHub. And to generate this personal access token, you can go to your GitHub account. Here, click onto this profile icon. Here into the menu, select this settings. Scroll to the bottom where you would be able to see this developer settings. Click here, and inside it, we have option of personal access token, right? That's what we need to provide it here, personal access token. Click here, click onto the token classic, and from here, you would be able to see need an API token for the scripts or testing and generate a personal access token. So click onto this link. Here, you can provide your password and click onto the confirm. And you would be able to see this new personal access token classic page where you can provide any node. Okay, I am providing that personal token 1, and then you can provide the expiration date. Okay, for now I'm clicking here for the 7 days, and after that you can select all those options to provide the specific access. So these are all the scopes which we are providing with our token. Okay, for now I'm selecting all the options to provide the complete scope. And after selecting all the required options, you can click onto the generate token button, and it will give you this token. Okay, I'm copying this token, and here into this pop-up related to connect to GitHub, which we have got on giving this git push -u origin main command, you can simply paste that token which got generated here. Okay, and click onto the sign in. And once you do that and go back to your VS Code, so see your code got pushed successfully and you are not able to see any error. You can go back to your repository, which is this practice git 3, and there you would be able to see the committed code which we pushed is appearing here. So these were all 3 ways which we have used to authenticate when we were using HTTPS way to communicate with GitHub. You can use any one of the way. Personally, I prefer the first way, but it's up to you, and accordingly you can use it. And now, as we are done with this HTTPS way, so now let's move on to this SSH part. And as we saw, this HTTPS is the easy way where we just need to provide the username and password. But into this SSH way, we would be providing one key, but it is the more secured way. In your project, you can check that which way you need to use. For your practice purpose, you can use any one of the way. So now to learn this SSH way, let me create one more new repository. Click here onto this create new repository. And here I'm providing this practice git 4 as the name of the repository. And then click onto this create repository. So our blank repository got created. Again, let me delete these credentials from the credentials manager. From here, go to this github.com under this credentials, within this Windows credentials, and click onto the remove button and then select yes. So now credentials are removed. I am removing these credentials again and again so that we are not automatically authenticated, right? Although we are going to use this SSH. Now onto this repository, you can select this SSH option so that you would be able to see the URL related to the SSH. Now to push the code through this SSH way, there is nothing new. Only thing is that you would be using this particular URL and the authentication process would be little different. So we are going to use same set of command, but while giving the URL on place of this HTTPS URL, we would be providing SSH URL. Let me add it here, okay, just for your reference so that you would be able to see, or okay, and then here I will provide the SSH URL. So this is the one place where you will have to provide the specified SSH URL for your repository. And apart from that, all other commands would be exactly similar. So now let me open one new project, the sample project which I have created, which is Playwright Git Practice 4. Okay, open this folder. Here, let's again provide the commands one by one. So first one is git init, and then git add space dot, and then git commit space -m, and then git SSH practice. Okay, any meaningful comment you can give. And then we need to change the branch name to main. So git branch -M main, hit enter. And now we need to provide this command, which is git remote add origin, and then we would be providing the SSH key. So git remote add origin, and then this SSH key, which you can take from your repository. So copying it and here paste it after the origin, hit enter, and after that we need to give the command git push -u origin and then main. And now once you hit enter, you would be able to see this authenticity of host github.com can't be established because it is not able to authenticate using this SSH URL. So now what we need to do? So for that, we need to go to your GitHub, click onto your profile icon, and here click onto the setting. And under the setting, you would be able to see this SSH and GPS key. So click here, and here under this SSH key, click onto this new SSH key. And here we need to provide the title key type, which is authentication key. And here we need to provide the SSH key. And now how you can get the specified SSH key? So to generate the SSH key, you can open CMD, and here you need to give the command to generate the SSH key, which is SSH-keygen, and hit enter. And it will ask that enter file in which to save the key. So here you can hit enter. And for me, as this file already exists, so I can overwrite it by giving Y, which is yes for overwrite. And now you can simply press the enters. And here at the end, you would be able to see that your identification has been saved in this particular location, and the public key has been saved inside this particular file. So you can open this location. Okay, there we would be able to see this PUB file. Let me open the Explorer. Here you can search for this particular path. And here you would be able to see these two files. You need to open this .pub file. You can right click onto the file, show more options and properties. Here you would be able to see that this is .pub file. You can right click and open it with the notepad. And here you would be able to see this key got generated. Okay. And this is the key which we need to provide inside the GitHub. So let's copy it. It is starting with this SSH-RSA. Go to your GitHub, and here we need to provide this key. Okay. From here, how we came? We went on to the profile, click onto the setting, and inside the setting, we went on to this SSH and then new SSH key. Here, let me provide the title practice SSH, and here I'm providing that SSH key. You can keep this key type as authentication key and then add SSH key. Okay. Now we have added this SSH key for our GitHub profile. Now let me go back to this repository, which is practice git 4. For now, we are not able to see any code here. But now let me again provide this git push -u origin main command. Hit enter. And here it will ask you that are you sure you want to continue connecting? And once you provide yes for this, are you sure you want to continue, and hit enter, you would be able to see that your code got pushed successfully. You can go to your repository, and here you can refresh it and see your code is appearing here, which we have committed and pushed. So this is the SSH way, where we have generated a unique SSH key into our system by giving the command which is SSH-keygen, and it will generate one id_rsa.pub file. And you can open this file into your notepad. You can copy this key, and the same key you can provide inside the GitHub profile. So you can go to the settings, and from the settings, you need to select this SSH, and under the new SSH key, you can provide any title, key type as authentication key, and then the specified SSH key. From here, we can delete or manage these SSH keys also. So these were the two different ways through which we can communicate with our Git repository. So first one was HTTPS, and the second one is the SSH way, where we are not saving any credentials by giving the username and password. Okay, into this SSH way, we are saving the key inside our profile, and every time it will validate using this particular SSH key. Here, if you will come to this credentials manager, you would not be able to see any saved credential. See, This time we are not getting any github.com row. Now, as we have learned that how to create new Git repository, how to push the code into the repository either by using the HTTPS or by using the SSH. And with the HTTPS way also, we saw that how we can authenticate using different ways, where we saw that we can authenticate using the username and password, or we can use the unique code for the authentication of the HTTPS way, or we can use the unique token for the authentication. So you can use any one of the way to push your code onto the Git repository. So now, once we push the code first time onto the Git repository, let's say second time, we want to make changes into 1 or 2 files, and then we want to push those changes. In that case, what we need to do? Because some of these activities or the commands which we performed were the one-time activity. Like we created the Git repository for the specific project, that was the one-time activity. We performed this git init to initialize a new Git repository in the current directory. This is also one-time activity. We need not to perform it again for the same project. And after that, we performed this git add dot. So this would be useful for the next time also. Let me highlight it with the green colors so that you will get to know that which is the command which you need to use every time. Okay, I'm highlighting it with the green color. So git add dot you would be using to stage all the changes or whatever the changes you make into your project. You can also use this git add file name if you want to just add the specified file. I've separated it with the or. So you can either add all the changes by using git add dot, or you can specify the file name by using git add file name. So this you need to perform every time, git add dot. After that, this git commit -m and then your comment message. This also we would be performing every time whenever we are making any change and we want to push them. So again, highlighting it with the green. And then this renaming of the branch was the one-time activity. This adding a remote repository with the name origin was also one-time activity, so not highlighting it. Then we use this git push -u origin main, and this command we would be using again, although we would not be using this -u because we used this -u to set this origin main as the default upstream, and from the next time we can simply use git push origin main, or as we have already set this origin main as the default upstream, so we can just use the git push, but there is no harm in using git push origin main also. Okay, so I am highlighting this command also with the green color. And apart from these three commands, there is one more command which we would be using, which is git pull origin main, and this is used to fetch and integrate changes from the remote repository main branch into local branch. So this one also I am highlighting it with the green color. Let me give you one example that how we would be using it. Let me make some changes into this example.spec.ts file. Okay, I will update one console log here. You would be making any change into your code, and here I am giving practice second push. Okay, this is just the console log I have added. For you, it would be a specified code. And now, as I have made this change, I want to push this change onto the Git repository. So this particular project we put onto the Git repository, which is practice git 4. Now let's push this change onto the same Git repository. Authentication also was the one-time activity. We will not have to do it again. Apart from that, we have also performed these two commands to provide the email and the name. These were also one-time activity only. We would not be seeing this author identity unknown again because we have set the email and the name already at the global level. Now let's use the command which we have highlighted into the green color. So here git add, and if you want to specify this file name, that is also well and good. For now, I will use directly this dot, hit enter. And after this git add dot, we need to commit these changes. So git commit -m, and here we can provide any comment within the quotes. So here practice push 2. Okay, any meaningful comment you can give. Just for the practice purpose, I'm giving this comment. Now hit enter. And now once you commit your code, here we saw, right, after adding and committing the code directly, we need to perform this git push, and before that let's say there is a scenario that apart from you, there is someone else from your team is also working on the same repository, and he has pushed some changes onto the main branch. Okay, and you want to fetch those changes. So in that case, you will have to use this git pull origin main, which will fetch and integrate the changes from the remote repository's main branch into your local branch. So this pull command also you can perform in such cases. Let me perform this command. So git pull origin main. Okay, like this, you would be entering the command and it will pull all the changes from the remote repository. Okay, for now I'm not hitting enter, but like this you can pull the changes. And after that, we need to simply push our changes onto the main branch. So for that, we can use git push origin main. Also you can use, no need to use this -u flag. Okay, and as we have already set this origin main as the default upstream, that also if you don't want to use, that is okay. And now hit enter and your changes will get pushed onto the git repository. Let me open this practice git 4. Okay, and once I refresh it, so see, this practice push to is the commit, right, which we pushed. So here if we will click onto this tests, so inside this we have made changes into this example.spec.ts file. So here we are able to see the same commit message 2 minutes ago. For the other directories and the files, we have not made any changes. So that's why we are not seeing the commit message with other directories and the files. And like this, you can push any number of changes onto your Git repository. And usually onto the real-time projects, you would not be pushing your code directly into the main branch. You would be creating sub branch from this main branch, and inside that new branch, you would be pushing your code. And once you push the code onto your new branch, you would be raising a PR to merge your changes into the main branch. Okay, because like this in your team, there would be multiple people who would be working. Okay, so each person would be creating their own separate branch. They would be pushing their code onto that separate branch, and then they would be raising the PR to merge their changes onto the main branch. If you want to learn that process, please let me know into the comment section below. I will explain that process into detail with the examples. For now, we learned this activity to create our own repository and push the changes there. As I am alone working onto this repository, so that's why I pushed my changes onto the main branch directly. And apart from pushing the code onto the Git repository, I would like to cover one more topic which is related to the cloning of the repository. I want to cover this topic because I would be pushing my whole project related to this particular playlist onto one separate Git repository, and I would be providing the link of that Git repository under the description and into this document also, so that you can clone my repository and then you can explore the code at your end. So this is the project, right, which we have used for this particular playlist. And here I've kept all the test script files inside this archive folder. You can see all the test script files. And here also I've mentioned this video number so that it would be easy for you to find that which file you need to explore. So here I'm not keeping any file inside this tests folder. Usually I move them to archive folder. You would be able to see all those files here. And this global setup, package.json, configuration file also, you would be able to explore. In the git ignore, I've already added this node module, all the report directories. This allure I forgot to add, that also I will add inside the git ignore, so that it will not get pushed to the repository which I will create. All these practice repositories which we have created, I would be deleting them, okay, and would be creating one main repository where you would be able to find the code. And as I told, that main repository link I will provide under the description. So let's see how we can clone the repository. For now, let's clone this practice git 4 only. And for that, we would be using this HTTPS URL. You can also use this SSH URL to clone the repository, but just to keep the things simple, I would be using this HTTPS URL. So I've copied this URL. So now to clone this repository, you can simply go to the location where you want to clone the repository. So here let's create a new folder where we would be cloning it. Clone practice. At any location you can clone any of the repository. And to clone the repository, let me open CMD here. So this CMD got opened for this current directory. And here to clone the repository, you need to use one simple command, which is git clone. And then you need to provide the URL of the repository which you want to clone. I've already copied that URL, which is HTTPS URL I'm using just to keep the things simple, and hit enter. And it will start cloning that particular repository. And here see the cloning is completed and you would be able to see that particular project folder. For me, it was real quick because I've just cloned this dummy project. But if you will clone the original project or the repository which I am going to provide, so there you may get little time to clone. Okay, so now this project got cloned. Let me open this particular folder into the VS Code. So going on to the file, open folder. And now as we have cloned the project inside this clone practice, and this is our main project folder which got cloned from the Git repository. So open it. Okay, practice Git 4 is the project name which is appearing because it is our Git repository's name. And here you would be able to see all these directories and files which were available onto this Git repository. See all these directories, folders, their inner files, and these files would be available here. This is the example.spec.ts. If you click on it, here we are also able to see this console log last time which we pushed. Okay, so it has fetched all the latest changes from the given repository. Like this, you can clone any of the repository and then you can explore it. And as we are not pushing the node packages here, so you will have to do one more thing before starting the execution. So for that, you can open the terminal here, terminal, new terminal, and here you need to simply use the command which is npm install. And what it will do, it will install all the packages which we have mentioned inside this package.json. So into original repository which I will provide, you would be seeing other packages also which we have used. Let's for an example, we have used CSV parser package to read data from the CSV files. We have used this .env package to handle multiple environments. Okay, so like this, you would be able to see the package name, and all those packages will get installed once we use this npm install. Hit enter, and here you would be able to see that node modules folder got created, and inside it, all the packages will get installed. For now, this is dummy project only. Here we are not using any extra packages, so that's why it installed really quick. For the original repository which I will provide, it may take a little bit extra time. So these two would be the major step which you would be performing to clone the repository and then to install all the npm packages. I am considering that you have already installed Node as the prerequisite. Okay, I will also create this README file where I will provide all the information related to the link URL, this git clone command, and the npm install. What are the steps which you need to follow? Okay, and as I told, you can create README file later. So see here we are able to see this add a README file. You can click here, and here you can provide any of the details. Let's say the prerequisite is to install node package. So here I'm providing prerequisite node should be installed. Okay, just for the practice I'm showing you, I would be creating one proper README file, and after that you would be providing this git clone and then the specified URL which will clone the specified repository into your local machine. Clone command here I am giving as the heading. Okay, just practice README file I am creating, and then to install the node packages you need to give this npm install, which will install all the node packages which are mentioned inside the package.json. To install node packages is the heading which I am giving. So like this, you can create your README file. I would be creating proper README file where I would be providing all the details. Let me commit these changes. And here it has already taken this commit message. Click onto the commit changes. Okay, from directly GitHub, I'm committing these changes. See here, we are able to see this dummy README file where we have mentioned that prerequisite should be node should be installed. And then by using this, you can clone it and then you can install all the packages. Okay, into the main repository, I would be mentioning all the details into the proper format. This is just to show you that you can edit your README file accordingly, and its extension is .md. See, this README file is now appearing here with your code files. Once you will clone, there also you would be able to see this README file. And that's it for this particular video. Let me give you the quick recap. So here in the video, we saw that we can create our Git repository where we can manage our code. Okay, we also saw that what are all different benefits of using the Git repository. And then we saw that how we can push our code onto the Git repository either by using the HTTPS or the SSH. You can use any of the way. For this HTTPS, we provide username and password for the authentication, and for the SSH, we provide secret key. And as I told, this SSH method is more secured way, but it's up to you which one you want to use. And after that, we saw that what are all different commands which we need to perform to push the code onto the Git repository. So initially, we use this git init to initialize a new Git repository into current directory. Then we have used this git add dot to stage all the changes into the current directory. You can also use this git add file name to stage the specified file. And after adding, we need to perform git commit -m and then any relevant comment. And once we commit our changes, we saw first time you may be seeing this author identity unknown message. In that case, you can set email and the name. This is only one-time activity. And once we commit our code, then we renamed our branch name to the main by using this git branch -m main command. And then we need to add a new remote repository named origin from the given remote repository on the GitHub. So for that, we need to give the command git remote add origin. And here, if you are using the HTTPS, so in that case, you need to provide the HTTPS URL. And if you are using the SSH, so here with this command, you will have to provide this SSH URL. So this is the only change into the command which you would be providing if you are using HTTPS or the SSH. And once we add this remote repository named origin, we need to push our changes. And for that, we need to provide the command which is git push -u origin main. And this -u flag sets origin main as the default upstream branch. And this were all the activities to push the changes onto the GitHub for the first time. And from the next time, if you are making any changes, so we saw that we just need to add all those changes. So git add dot we need to perform, then we need to perform this commit command to commit all the changes. And if someone else is also pushing their changes onto the branch, so first you can pull those changes by using this git pull command. And after that, you can push your changes by git push origin main command. You'll not have to use this -u or the origin main every time. And after that, we saw that we can also clone any of the repository by using the HTTPS or the SSH. For the practice, we have used this HTTPS URL to clone the repository by using the command which I have also provided into the document. So the command would be git clone and then the specified repository URL. And once the project is cloned from the remote repository, you can use this npm install to install all the packages if you are cloning the Playwright repository. If you are cloning any other repository, let's say you are cloning Selenium Java repository, in that case, this npm install will not be applicable, right? As we have cloned the Playwright repository, so that's why we have performed that npm install to install all the node packages. We also saw that we can create or edit this README file. Okay, you can create proper README file with the proper heading and the structure. You can search for it into the Google, or if you want me to cover that topic, please let me know into the comment section. And that's it from my end. You can click onto this first card to go to the next video. You can click onto the second card to access the whole Playwright tutorial playlist, and stay tuned for my upcoming videos. If you have any comments, questions or doubts, you can let me know into the comment section below. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Have a great day.